Good morning, everyone. This is Jeff from the Cyber Pro podcast, back with another episode about cybersecurity. Industry leaders share their insights and their perspectives about this very important topic. It's 5 questions in 9 minutes because hackers never sleep. So darn it, neither should we. And on that, let's jump right in with question number 1. In a few sentences, Ryan, please tell us who you are and what you do.
Yes, my name is Ryan. I'm Chief Information Security Officer at Mission Search. I also do Chief Information Security Officer advisory services for a startup and really any other company that needs it.
Wonderful. Can you share with us your perspective or something very fascinating about being a CISO cyber professional during these very interesting times?
Sure. I have to say, based on the way I architected the network here at Mission Search, we didn't have really much of an issue going to full-time work at home when we needed to, because I already had VPN access set up. I had already trained everybody. We had recently moved from a PRI system to VoIP, so we could do everything remote, access our database. I just had to do some retraining, and that was it.
Wonderful, wonderful. So let's talk a little bit more about cybersecurity, right? It's a big issue. It's only growing on multiple levels, on multiple fronts. So when you hear the word cybersecurity is becoming more important, share with us what that means to you.
Becoming is kind of the key word for me. That tells me that the need for information security is really being pushed to the forefront of people's minds. And that's a good thing. And it's also a bad thing because we're already enough behind the curve when it comes to mitigating threats. So we still have a long way to go when it comes to education and evangelism, but we're still making inroads, which is good.
Yeah, I'm going to go off script for just 1 second. One of the themes that we've been hearing as we've been going through these podcasts is that cybersecurity used to be kind of an afterthought, right? Like people would design a product or design a service or design something or implement something. And then at the end of the cycle, they're like, oh crap, we got to think about security.
Right,
and
attack on security.
Yeah. And that doesn't really seem to be the case now, where as you said, it's becoming more of a forefront of our thought and slowly being integrated into the design process of whatever product or service that company might be designing. Do you have any thoughts on, where that's headed and what that looks like?
Yeah, we're well on our way to security by design instead of security by reaction. The problem with security by design is that consumers are still behind the curve when it comes to understanding and working with a lot of the concepts that we within the industry find pedestrian almost, right? And so the security by design is good. It's just that we have to do a better job of making it user experience, user interface friendly.
Ah, right. Getting the consumer on the other end to use it, right? Not just brush it off. Makes sense.
Yeah, because a lot of times consumers take one look at anything technical and go, I can't do this. So we have to find ways to really effectively communicate that there is an inherent need to use security instead of waiting until something bad happens.
Yeah, and that flows perfectly into our next question, right? So question number 4 is, what insights or advice about information security programs is possible at both small and mid-sized companies, not just enterprise?
Right. So my biggest piece of advice that comes to this, not my only piece of advice, but my biggest, is patience. It's going to take years because a lot of times you're a one-person show. You may be fortunate to have 1, 2, maybe 3 other people working with you. But as the old adage goes, it starts with planning, right? You have to know where you are and where you need to go, and then get buy-in for your vision and then go from there. And it all starts with asset management, with inventory, documentation, Because if you don't know where your data is and where your data is going, you don't know what to put where.
Well put. Thank you for that. And question number 5, our final question and our fun question, of course. Tell us about your favorite piece of retro technology that makes you smile.
You know, I'm not very nostalgic, but there are a couple that pull on the strings of my heart, and I guess it would be Nintendo 64 and the first PlayStation. Because my childhood best friend, we always played 007 on Nintendo 64. And maybe even going back further, the Nintendo, where we had this gamepad, and it was a game where it was like the Olympics, but it had animals, and you would run on the gamepad and you would jump. And that was a lot of fun. And then PlayStation 1 was Madden. That's when I really first got big into the Madden game series.
Nice, nice. Well, lovely, brilliant. I appreciate your responses today, Ryan. If people are interested in learning a little bit more about you, about your company, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
Probably Twitter. I'm on there most days. I take mental breaks because of some of the drama that can go on there for a couple days at a time, usually weekends. But yeah, Twitter at @SomeInfoSecGuy, and then on LinkedIn.
Wonderful. Thank you for being on our podcast today. I wanted to let everybody know, for those of you who don't, that the Cyber Pro podcast puts on 3 or 4 different episodes every week with different topics from the cybersecurity world. We appreciate and value all the perspectives that we get, and we hope we provide some value to you. Thank you, Ryan, for your time. And to our watchers, please come back soon and see another episode of the Cyber Pro podcast. Thanks for being here. Have a good day.